guys, welcome and welcome back to this channel. If you are a new subscriber, please consider looking around and subscribing to the channel. I'm Tony. This is Business Life with Tony. I go over assistance with home service agencies, home health agencies, and any other businesses. This can also relate to like daycare and things like that. So if you're interested in information like that, join us, please. So today I kind of wanted to go over one of the questions that were left in the comments section. Somebody wanted to know what the process was like for me going through the survey. In Illinois, our initial survey was online. It was still during the period of like COVID, and I think even now it's still done online. And so what this looks like is you'll get a code, kind of like a Zoom link. I forget exactly what it's called. I think it's like WebEx. So you'll get this link for the day and the time. You log in, just like Zoom. At this point, so let's see. I'm gonna go back to the beginning because it kind of ties into this and like where you should be at the survey point. So from the beginning, you apply, you turn in your application. That's pretty much all your personal information and just showing like, hey, I have interest in becoming a home health agency or a home care agency. And so you turn that in. Once they approve that, they'll tell you a list of policy and procedures that you must have, the bare minimum of the policy and procedures that your agency must have. So you'll do all of those, they'll do corrections or they'll approve them. And then once they approve them, they push you on and get you a date for your survey. Now, during that survey is like, that's what the person that, everybody else before them were just kind of getting you ready and kind of helping you out so that this person that you have your survey with, when you get with them, it should all be, everything should be correct. You shouldn't have anything to fix or anything like that. However, you very well may have things to correct. So at this time, this person is going to go over things with you. It's already been turned in to them. So during the survey, you guys are going on over the same thing. So the survey is nothing to really be afraid of. If you know your rules and regulations and your policies are in order based on your rules and regulations, there's nothing to be afraid of. It's really just organization. And so when you have that survey, they have a copy of whatever you turned into them, all your policy procedures, the order that it's in and everything. You do have to have a table of contents, so they have that. They have everything there. You need to have the copy in front of you as well. You need to have something to take notes with in front of you as well, because they're going to tell you, the people before them that got you ready for the surveyor, they may have said, okay, everything's good and here's your date for your survey, but you still might have things to correct. So this person that's doing your survey has looked over every single thing, and they have taken notes on things that you need to correct, things that shouldn't be there, things that should be there that are not there, things that were mislooked, overlooked, things like that. So they're going to be telling you, oh, actually this policy is it needs to be corrected. This should not be here, or this should be here. And you need to be taking notes because they're going to tell you exactly what it is. And you can even ask them, where can I find this in the rules and regulations, just to make sure. So they'll tell you where you can find it. And you can ask like, okay, well, I'm confused because I thought that I had everything there. It says this, it says that, and this is what I have. And they'll go further into detail with you. So it's nothing to really be afraid of. But like I said, the questions that you ask will let them know how much work you've really put into, researching what you didn't understand. So like I always say, there's no such thing as a dumb question, but the questions that you ask them, they're gonna know like, okay, this person has done their research. This is a valid question. I can see why you're confused about this. Versus like, okay, why would you ask me that? Because if you're into having a home service agency, you should definitely know XYZ. Like, so the questions that you ask, make sure you kind of show them that you have done the research, So I would say on page whatever, or in this policy, or whenever I ask questions, I was very detailed. I would say, okay, so here under G, it mentioned this, and here under F, it mentioned this. And so I was confused about XYZ. Like, I would let them know, I know my rules and regulations. I read them up and down, front to back, cover to cover, however you want to say it. I know what I'm talking about, and I have a question based on this, you know. And so they would be like, okay, yeah, she read her stuff, you know. The one thing you don't want is for it to look like you're definitely just like looking for a handout. Like, can you give me the answer to this? You know what I'm saying? So yeah, when you get with the surveyor, if they say this is incorrect, this, you know, something's missing, you know, you can ask what's missing, you know. Now, if I recall, you definitely have to have, trying to think of a rule or regulation. So let's say for Alzheimer's dementia, as far as I can remember, you need to have someone to do the training, you need to do this, you need to do that. So I'm not sure what I'm missing. Can you tell me where I can find the missing part, you know? So just say something to show them that you know a little bit about that policy, you know what I mean? And they always appreciated that, always. But anywho, so you get to this person and you can still have corrections that need to be done. I got to this person, I had corrections that needed to be done. We went over the entire packet that I submitted to them. My, I forgot what it's called by now. My LOR, my letter of readiness. We went over my entire packet of letter of readiness that I submitted to them. Basically page by page. So she had pages marked where things needed to be added or things needed to kind of be merged together. I had 3 different policies. It was the same policy, it just needed to be merged together. And the reason I had 3 different policies is because they listed it as 3 different policies. So I was confused myself, like, why am I repeating this? But I was like, okay, if that's what they want, I'm gonna do it. So she did tell me, like, well, you can have these 2 things separate, or you could just make this all one policy. And she was very helpful in that way. Now, during the survey, we go over the entire letter of readiness, but we only focus on the corrections. So if I didn't have any corrections, she would get right into probably what we went into afterwards, which is going over the fees. So not renewing your license in time. There's fees associated with that. Inspections for the next year. So they may or may not inspect you, but you should always be operating in compliance because you never know when they're gonna come visit. I mean, they give you a heads up and they tell you, you know, we'll be here this day, this time. And they'll even wait on you if you're not there. They'll wait on you for a little bit because your doors don't have to be open all the time. But if they tell you that they're going to be there and that's your inspection date, you need to be there. So we go over that. We go over other possible fines and how they accumulate. We went over different things like if you're going to move your agency, how to move your agency, how far in advance do you need to let them know that your agency is moving. You're going to have a new address. How do you change that address? So we kind of go over all of those things, we went over all of those things, and there was time for questions, answers. It was really quick. It was really smooth. It was really quick. She was very friendly, very helpful, very informative. I was missing 2 policies. I was missing a policy for like going to the grocery store, just saying that the client gives me permission to use their card if they had a card, or to use their money to purchase their items. And then I needed a log sheet with that. And then I was missing another one. What was the other one? Let me think about it. Oh, the other policy I was missing was if I was going to work with other agencies. So if I needed caregivers from another agency, or if they wanted to use my caregivers and vice versa, things like that, I needed some type of policy on how that's going to be carried out. So those are not mandatory things. I don't have to provide assistance with grocery shopping, and I don't have to take someone's credit card or their money and go purchase it. So it wasn't necessary, but she did let me know, if this is something that you want, you need to submit this to us, later on, a year from now, tomorrow, if you decide you want to do this, you need to create this policy, send it to us, and then they'll give me the okay. So at the time I told her no thank you, because I wanted to get done. But I did create those policies later on. I actually had one, I just didn't have it in there, for the money handling. So what happened with the corrections that I needed to make, she allowed me time to get it done. Okay, so initially I was told this process would take about an hour, right? So I think I started at 2:00. My kids get out of school at 4:00, and I'm thinking, okay, this is enough time. I actually was on that WebEx Zoom kind of meeting with her past the time to pick my kids up. I was a little late. So at that time, she said, I'm going to give you time to correct what's wrong with the policies that I mentioned to you. And if you can get them done within 2 hours, submit them to me and you'll get your license today. If I wasn't able to get them done within the 2 hours, I think it's 2 hours, don't quote me, but everybody's situation is probably going to be different. So for me, I believe it was 2 hours. If I wasn't able to get it done in 2 hours, I would have to fill out a paper, send it to her, and then basically that's just kind of saying like, I'm not ready, I need more time. It gives me like an extension to get my policies in order. And then it's like a 10-day period. So regardless if I turned it in that night, I wouldn't hear back from them for about 10 days. So that's what happened. I ended up turning in those policies that night, heard from them probably 10 days later, and I was told that my policies were accepted and that I was going to be receiving my licensing in the mail. I think she said it had to go to the director or something like that, and I would receive it in the mail. But then they let me know I cannot do anything until I received it in the mail. So that's how it was for me. I don't think I'm missing anything. Like I said, it was really quick. It was really smooth. I know I said like it was hours, but you're going over the letter of readiness from the table of contents to the back of the packet. So, we really went over everything. Like, okay, here's your table of contents. Here is your, I'm trying to think what all was in there. Your care plan. We really flipped through all the pages, and she may have talked about things a little bit, and then we really just focused on the things that were wrong. If I had questions, my mom was there. She's my alternate agency manager, so she had questions. They talked a little bit, so that kind of made the time longer, but other than that, like, the process was very smooth. The best advice I could give is, like I said, make sure you have a copy in front of you, the same copy that you sent to them. Make sure you have something to write with. Make sure when you're asking questions, you sound knowledgeable, you know what you're talking about, and just be ready to take notes. Don't be afraid to ask them to elaborate, or I'm sorry, I'm not understanding the way that you're explaining it, or so the way that I'm understanding that you're saying it is this, and kind of repeat it back to them, like, if you're not understanding. But don't let it go. Like, don't just be like, oh, okay. Like, if you're still confused, ask, because that's the time to do it. Especially, we're paying them fees for this, so you've already paid your fee. You might as well ask the questions you need to ask. And like I said before in another video, before you get to the surveyor, those are the people you need to be asking the questions to. So when you get to the surveyor, everything is smooth, quick, easy. You have less corrections to make. So that's just my tips, my thoughts on it. I feel like I didn't give much, but it really was just that simple. I know it's nerve-wracking. Do not let your nerves get the best of you, because I was so nervous. I really was like in my head, and I was trying to prepare so much. Like, I couldn't have prepared any more than to just have it in front of me with something to take notes with, and that's it. Another thing I did, I used another phone to record the entire conversation, so I was able to go back to it and hear exactly, like, because she would tell me, like, oh, this is missing A, G, C, and so I didn't really have to keep up with it. I didn't even really have to take notes, but I took notes anyway just in case something happened and I couldn't hear. My mom had her talk text on, and then she sent it to me when we were done. So I had the talk text, I had my paper note, my handwritten notes, I had the recording. We got everything, okay? We wasn't missing nothing. But it's also good too because now I'm about to move. I'm about to be coming up on, well, not really, but like I need to know how far in advance I need to renew. So all of those things that we talked about, the fines and things like that, is in the recording, is in the notes. So I can go back at any time and listen to all of those things. And like some of the things I know I needed to put in place that I didn't have in place. And I was like, oh, I better do that, you know, which if the surveyor came out and I didn't have that in place, I probably would have got dinged for that, you know. But having it recorded, I went back, I took notes and was like, okay, she mentioned this, I need to get that together because I didn't have that together, you know. It wasn't like I took my computer around and showed her things. It was basically everything that was in the letter of readiness. She didn't ask to see my signage. She didn't ask to see my desk. She didn't ask to see my lock file cabinet or inside of it. She didn't ask to see inside of my folders. She didn't ask to see any of those things. And one of the things in the letter of readiness, I had to send pictures. I had to send pictures of my office, my outside door with the signage, front, back, however many doors you have, they want to see. You know, when you show the office, you want to show your lock file cabinet because it's in the rules and regulations that you must have a place to lock their personal information away at. So you definitely want to get that in your photo images. So that's probably why, you know, she wasn't like, oh, can I see your office, you know, because I sent pictures of it already. So when you do have that survey, you're focusing on everything in your letter of readiness to make sure that your policies are good and ready to go. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. Don't let your nerves get the best of you. Just like use that opportunity to like practice being confident and having faith in yourself and the work that you put into everything, because you're definitely going to need that later on when you're talking to families and, you know, possible clients, and when you're having your lunch and learns and things like that. You're going to need to sit up straight, talk clearly, like you're very knowledgeable, and talk to these families and be confident. And so start now, you know, even before you get to the surveyor. But that's the time when you need to really put it on. So that is pretty much all. Thank you guys for tuning in. We are almost by now. By the time y'all see this, I don't know if I'm gonna put this out later or now. But it's August 8th, and we are at 931 subscribers. Yeah. Y'all be doing y'all thing. But my phone is at 9%, and I gotta get home. So thank you guys for tuning in. As always, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share with your like-minded friends. If you know any nurses or caregivers, I know caregivers absolutely love this information. There's so many caregivers that never knew that they could do or have a home service agency. They didn't know it was a such thing as that. A lot of them are like, you know they can go private, but what more can they do? This is the more that you can do. So just share with anybody that you know, especially nurses. This is like a really good opportunity if you're a nurse or if you know a nurse and you can work alongside of a nurse. A lot of people come from families of people that work in the healthcare industry. My mom is a caregiver, my sister was a caregiver, my grandma was a caregiver. I'm a caregiver, you know. I do want to go on to do nursing. My mom has gone on to do other things. She has so many degrees, and so, you know, with just my little family, we can do so many things, you know. And so if you know people that are like that, share this with them, because this is a really good opportunity and a good place to be in. But I will just keep talking, y'all know I will just keep talking. I'm gonna let y'all go. Don't forget to put questions in the comment section. If you have them, I will create a dedicated video to answer your question, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.